Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Checkup Basketball Short. Jayson Tatum has returned to our lives. Always good to have more talent in the NBA, as I always say. He has a couple of games now under his belt, the most recent being against the San Antonio Spurs, who are a phenomenal defensive team. Let's take a look at some of the things that happened in that game. Now, the first thing I noticed, especially in this first quarter, is that the Spurs were almost daring him to take these pull-up threes and these pull-up jumpers. Look at how far back Wembanyama is in drop there, as if he has no intention whatsoever to contest that jumper, almost baiting him into it. As we'll see, even with Luke Kornet here as the big man on the floor in place of Victor Wembanyama, they are still going with the, we'll sit far back enough in drop in order to bait him into these kinds of pull-up threes. We're comfortable with those. And personally, as somebody who was cautiously optimistic about Jayson Tatum's return, I did wonder how teams would react to him or how they would defend him coming out of the gate. To me, it felt like the Spurs were very, very comfortable with him taking as many jump shots as he wanted. So the Spurs are throwing in a bit of a funky zone here is what it looks like, almost like a 2-1-2. We see Neemias Queta come up to set the screen on the left side. He's actually going to flip and rescreen on the right side. Kornet still in drop, and Jayson Tatum, instead of settling for the pull-up three here, has a really nice in-and-out dribble and the burst and the muscle to get downhill. We didn't see a lot of help from Julian Champagnie on that drive here. There's a lot of space, so Tatum, I like this read and react, and he gets all the way to the rim. That looks really solid. As we've seen the Celtics kind of evolve into a more systemic offense, especially without Tatum or Brown on the floor this year, I always wondered how Tatum was going to fit into that once he was back healthy. Well, it appears that it might work really well for him. Look at that little pitch and go action, which gets him into the comfortable three, there, where he can kind of just carry his momentum forward. Something that myself and others have already noted is that, with it being only 10 months post-Achilles injury, he's not getting quite as much lift on his jump shot. So that being able to run or get that pitch in that action there helped him get some momentum, which just put that ball cleanly in the net. And, of course, the Spurs playing more drop defense and choosing to allow him to have those wide-open pull-up jumpers. And he made him pay. Another thing that we've learned that Joe Mazzulla loves this year is the Spain pick and roll. The Celtics run a ton of them. Now, the Spain pick and roll, really quick, is typically when you bring in a third offensive player into the pick and roll action, and that third offensive player sets a back screen on the big man's defender in order to confuse the defense even further, and typically that third screener pops out. So we see the initial pick and roll up here at top with Neemias Queta, but look, Jayson Tatum is setting this back screen on Victor Wembanyama here to pull him out of the pick and roll. Now, what does Jayson Tatum do? Jayson Tatum's going to pop out here to the wing. Neemias Queta is going to roll, and Carter Bryant, who is originally defending Jayson Tatum, now has to slide over and be a part of this initial action up top. Now, you do see Wemby call out the switch here to Steph Katzel. It's just too late. Jayson Tatum catch, clean release, beautiful, beautiful play. I'm of the opinion that it will be very beneficial for Jayson Tatum right now to get a lot more of these catch and shoot or set type actions run for him rather than being the primary ball handler in a pick and roll, taking pull-up jumpers, or a guy hunting mismatches. It's just, he's going to be more effective in this kind of role for now, for just a little bit of time. Tatum looks really comfortable in the mid-range, at least to me. I haven't seen quite the stats on it, but look at this just smooth, silky jumper over Carter Bryant, who's a solid defender. He just gets that thing up cleanly, has great arc on it, goes right through the rim. So much of what I'm watching and what many others are watching with Jayson Tatum right now is a lot more about process than it is about results. The results are going to be what they're going to be. This guy hasn't played basketball consistently for a really long time. But as long as things feel or look correct to our eyes, that's what I'm watching for. And again, just the way that teams and other players choose to defend him has been really interesting. I mean, Wemby is way up on him here. And look, he's even going to bite on this pump fake. Look at that nice little drive to the rim. Gets right there for a wide open layup. Great looking drive. Again, Tatum just looks so much more comfortable. Kept catching the ball in a secondary look, catching the ball off of kickouts or getting the opportunity to get downhill without the ball in his hands. It just seems a lot easier for him to create advantage that way. So we see Baylor Shireman penetrate the paint here. Luka Garza is setting a little back screen up top here for Tatum. Tatum's going to catch this ball. Now, I think this is supposed to be another Spain pick and roll, as if Shireman is supposed to be setting a pick on Luka Garza's man, but Luka Garza's man is Victor Wembanyama, who's in the paint right now. So this set doesn't look quite exactly like I think it's supposed to, but look at Tatum pump fake this, gets two Spurs players, splits the defense, and gets right to the rim. Even though that looked like a little bit of a busted play to me, I like that Tatum is able to comfortably catch the ball and then get downhill off of that. Now, to me, possessions like this are kind of what you want if you're an opposing team. Jayson Tatum's going to pull up from a solid 5 feet behind the three-point line, and Victor Wembanyama is the closest defender, maybe a bit ill-advised, and you see that shot just fall short. Like, we've seen quite a few of those pull-up jumpers fall short. I think you're very comfortable with that if you're the defense, obviously. I love this look here. This looks like Jayson Tatum catching the ball off of a little flare screen. The nanosecond that Victor Wembanyama leaves the paint here, Jayson Tatum is going to drive. Little hop, step, gather, and he's going to shoot this nice little midi. Love it. Looks great. This play's a little bit cut off here, but Neemias Queta is going to do wonders for Jayson Tatum as a screener. Just think about the bigs that he's had as screeners over the past couple of years. Primarily Al Horford and Kristaps Porzingis. Neemias Queta is just a very different kind of pick-and-roll big for him to have. Look at how much space and opportunity he gives to Jayson Tatum here, where he's able to get Keldon Johnson on his hip, and he's able to rise up cleanly for this. Falls flat, but that's okay. We're talking about process over results here. That was all of the interesting shooting possessions that I could find from this game. This video is going to turn out to be longer than I initially had planned for it to be. I planned for this to be a short, but there's just a lot of interesting things to talk about. I do want to look at his playmaking real quick as well, because I think that's another thing that's easily popped for me since he's come back, and it will be something that regardless of where his athletic or physical abilities are right now, the playmaking and that IQ aspect will remain. So let's take a quick look at those. Only 2 total assists in this Spurs game, but that's okay. We're going to get a little pass over to the wing here. Look at the flare screen. Look at how well placed that pass was. Derek White gets an easy floater. This was Tatum's other assist in the game. We got 14 seconds on the clock. We're going to bring Neemias Queta up for a little pick and roll. We're going left. You see the little dig from Steph Castle here to prevent the drive. That means Baylor Shireman is wide open on the wing, on the move. Nicely placed ball and a beautiful 3. All right, just because I wanted to look at a couple of other things here, let's look at the Dallas game where he had 7 assists. We get this pitch and go, screen and roll action. Look at this beautifully timed, very well-placed lob for Neemias Queta for his first assist of the game. I love this again, opening up momentum, getting downhill off ball. We see Jayson Tatum beat his man, and Derek White hits him as he's diving towards the basket. Brandon Williams is forced to come over and contest this, which means we leave Sam Hauser, an incredible shooter, wide open in the corner. Again, we're going to see some more chemistry in the pick and roll with Jayson Tatum and Neemias Queta already. Look at this well-placed little lob pass right over the top, and Queta just takes it straight to the basket. Well, I think that should just about wrap me up. Again, this video is a lot longer than I anticipated it being. Thank you so much if you watched till the end. I do appreciate it. Go ahead and subscribe to the page if you're new here. Stick around for more content like this. I will have more in the future, and I do hope to see you all back here soon. Goodbye.